The regionals were amazing. The competition level was fierce. There were many battles that were incredibly close, and there was even a battle or possibly more that were just decided by something as little as an IV difference. It was very exciting. The ultimate victor of this tournament was Chaith, a member of the Professor's Finest. Congratulations. He did an absolutely amazing job, as did the rest of the Professor's Finest Nova Scotia representatives. Not one of us finished under 2-2 record, and 4 of the top 5 were from Nova Scotia. So go Professor's Finest. I think we did a great job. Nowhere to go but up here, and the connections we made were absolutely amazing. That being said, my first opponent was against a gentleman named Spike Chaos. So if I go over to the side screen here, forgive me because I did not take screenshots of my individual opponent ones. So the best I can do is use the list of all the opponents that's available publicly anyway. So if we scroll on down to Spike Chaos right here, this was the lineup that I was facing, which was Driftbrim, Alola Marowak, Skarmory, Azumarill, Bastiodon, Blaziken. I ultimately ended up deciding on this lineup right here, which was Azumarill, Skarmory, Gallade, Melmetal, Sableye, and Medicham. I usually don't like to bring in a Pokemon that I haven't practiced with too much. It kind of goes against my own playstyle. But I felt pretty strongly about how Sableye was going to perform and the way that I wanted to use it. So I actually arrived at the tournament, and I ended up powering up my Golden Sableye for the tournament right then and there, which was also funny because most people who arrived at the tournament, and everybody arrived early, obviously, but most people who arrived weren't set on their team. They got there and then got right down to the phone and started fussing about what their last picks were going to be. It was pretty funny that we're all in the same boat and we're pretty nervous. So with this one being said, I think first off I noticed that there were just 2 ghost types on here, and I wanted to be able to exploit that with my Sableye. I felt pretty good about most neutral matchups with Azumarill and the electric type from Melmetal. I always felt pretty strong with. It was a real base for me throughout the tournament, so I felt with the way it was performing, I kept going back to it. So that's how I decided to attack this first matchup, and that's how it's going to start out. So the battle starts right about here, and we can see how it plays out. So I get the good first lead, obviously. Azumarill versus Marowak. The bubble is going to be doing good damage against the fire type, so that's really the way to kind of wear it down and farm some extra energy. And I kind of noticed right away that he hadn't switched very quickly, even though it was an unfavorable matchup for him. Even didn't bother doing a shield bait on the Bone Club there. I didn't feel like I needed to tank or to use a shield first off right away. Probopass came out on the drive up. Yeah, that was pretty exciting too, Mavis? Either way here, I'm still feeling pretty strong about the way the matchup's going at first. Able to block the Shadow Ball because I knew he saved up a bit more energy. So I made a couple of right calls right off the bat, and this was a favorable matchup. So I was feeling pretty good, at least initially, even though my hands were an absolute wreck going back and forth. It was really hard to sit still in the first matchup. Very, very nerve-wracking. Never for a moment actually felt super comfortable with what was going on. Switching into Blaziken here, again, I gotta like the water and fairy damage coming on here, knowing I had the energy stored. So again, feeling like I'm at least in a good position to start off with. Knowing I have the Sableye back, waiting for one of those one of those ghost types. And I believe what happened is I tried to get the switch, but it just didn't quite work. Either way. There goes the switch. Even let it, yeah, didn't even maybe need to, but went for it anyway. Sableye performed really well, so I liked going back to Sableye. Try to reserve any health that I could, right? And then against the fighting type, that's a better matchup as well. And that's how I take the first match. So even though it turned out pretty good, the switches I felt like put me ahead, I still didn't feel like insanely comfortable at any point in time, trying to take too much advantage. I was just trying to be humble about it and make sure for sure that I was going to be okay. That was kind of the idea here. For the second matchup here, go to here. I'm going to switch up my lead. My kind of going theory throughout the tournament was to stick with what worked. If I had a lineup that was doing well, I was probably going to keep going with it. Again, Spike Chaos's team was this one right here. Sorry. So that was kind of the idea. Just went to switch up the lead, but keep the same performance in there. I liked the way that Sableye was. Yes. Go up to... right up here. So Melmetal comes out against Skarmory. Again, a favorable lead. You always have to feel good when you get a favorable lead. You just got to make sure you take advantage of it as well. I believe I just go right for Thunderbolt. I know I can take a Sky Attack here. And takes it pretty well. Go for the Thunderbolt. Go for max damage. No need to joke around here, right? Make him use a shield, and if he doesn't, he's going to have to pay for that. So that's pretty favorable. And I feel like I can get to the rock slide a little bit faster, so I go for that, hoping that's going to go for the kill, or at least force that shield out of him. Which works out pretty good. Thunder Shocks should be enough at that point, so I know I want to preserve the health, at least on the Melmetal, for anything coming up behind that. Brings in Bastiodon. Yeah, I think I went to switch and just thought, well, just try to do your Thunderbolts and see what you can get off on it for extra damage, and you can bring in Sableye to kind of counter it. I did not bring a Hydro Pump, Azumarill. I stayed with Ice Beam and Play Rough. I know a lot of people swapped out Hydro Pump for Ice Beam. Chaith actually did something different than that. He still used Hydro Pump, but actually kept Ice Beam as well, and not Play Rough. So it was interesting to see a bunch of the combinations that kind of went on. But I kept with Ice Beam and Play Rough, which I knew wasn't going to go as well against Bastiodon, so it was kind of nice to get at least a little bit of extra damage there on Bastiodon to help out Sableye, knowing I was going to invest a shield going into that one. I know it can charge moves faster than the Bastiodon for sure. So I felt at least decent, especially there where I know I can shield and get a few extra fast moves off as well. Farming that little bit of extra energy, so I didn't use the move right away because he had just used his charge, and Bastiodon takes a long time to charge up those extras. So I went for a few more fast moves to store up a little bit of extra energy, and those little bits are always like really, really helpful. As you can see, I still got another move ready to go. I'm just going for it right away. Obviously clicked on the wrong move though. That's the whole reason why I was running Shadow Sneak, was just to go against Azumarill and the fighting types like Medicham. So then I went for Shadow Sneak. But it was still going to do a whole boatload of damage there. Again, first matchup though, even though feeling like I'm ahead, didn't really feel like somehow something was going to happen, it was going to go wrong. I just didn't want to take it for granted, you know? And even though he gets to another move before me, here I am thinking it's a Play Rough coming, but I believe it's actually only an Ice Beam. And once the Ice Beam hit, that was when I knew I was going to win that battle. Knowing I had enough health to even tank another Play Rough. No problem, and I'd be able to get to another one. Anyway, it goes down pretty quickly there. And that's how I took round one. So getting one win under the belt right away feels great. Nice to get that kind of done with. I'll take it, right? My second match was actually against a fellow Professor's Finest. It was Mystic Sparkle. If I go over to this side here, Mystic Sparkle was on the bottom here. Bastiodon, Alola Marowak, Skarmory, Medicham, Quagsire, and Lantern. So a little bit of a different lineup when it came to the Quagsire and the Lantern. I didn't really see too many of those. So I wanted to bring out my Gallade, swap it for the Sableye, just feeling like with the water there that it would have a little bit of a better chance and I might be able to utilize that. So that was my general thought. Again, sticking with the mons that I know that work. That's strategies that have worked for me in the past, and that's kind of what I'm going with. Is Leprosy, Lapras any good in raiding, or is it just mainly for PvP? Lapras in general isn't really that good for raiding. I'd say we should always be going for a Mamoswine or a Weavile or, Mewtwo with Ice Beam. I think there's a lot of better ones out there for raiding. So Legacy Lapras is really good for PvP. You should have both the variants of Water Gun and Ice Shard and Ice Beams to maximize the usage. Totally. That's what I would say. Round 2. Okay, so you can see I lead with the Azumarill, and then I go Gallade and Melmetal. Right on. Mystic Sparkle. So first matchup. In our practice battles, we actually played out this matchup a whole number of times. When you've played it out that many times and you've gone through every single type of shield bait scenario and non-shield bait scenario, like bluff, no bluff, it's hard to predict what's coming next. There's times where Mystic Sparkle would go for the Earthquake and I would shield it, and there's times where she would go for it and I didn't, and vice versa, back and forth. This one started off okay. I shielded the Earthquake. I'll take that. Go right for another Ice Beam, just trying to generate the charge moves as fast as possible and kind of spam them, draw out the shields and try to do as much damage as possible, knowing that I'm a little bit ahead here. Figuring that's going to be the Stone Edge, because it was a little quicker, and it was another Earthquake, so wasn't counting the energy properly. Still could tank it, so that's good. Oof. I don't like that one bit. He even decided last second to use the shield. Just thought, oh, I gotta keep this alive because I can save the move for the next Pokemon. I really didn't like spending both shields on that Azumarill at all. Really didn't like it, especially with so little health left. You could bring in a Razor Leaf here and just do like 2 moves. And Lantern's a good option. I believe it was running water. Yes, it's running Water Gun. You can tell from the water spray coming from it and landing on my Pokemon. Went right for Leaf Blade, but look at that switch. That's pretty awesome. You had TM all your moves at the start of the tourney. Yeah. I know there are some people who have used the strategy of practicing with the Pokemon for a long time, and everybody thinks it's going to be that one, and then come the tournament, switch the move on it and run something different. That is a legitimate strategy. You always got to you have to know what your opponents are going to be able to bring, but you have to be able to go, it can't give away everything, right? So it's a little bit of a balance. You can't not play against them. You won't get good practice. Azumarill does a good job finishing up against the Alola Marowak here. I almost brought in Alola Marowak into this. I just decided to go with Sableye as my ghost, but it was right there down to the end, ready to go. Insanely close battle. Melmetal's got the electric move here. That's going to work out. I think after this one hits as well. And I just barely survive. I go right for the Rock Slide. Look how close that is. Ridiculous. I would never do such a thing. I didn't say who it was, so just throwing it out there. Really close first battle there against Mystic. Really, really close. We played so many battles against each other beforehand. It was just, it was hard to know what was coming next, honestly. So the second lineup, after going up 1-0, where are we at here? Yeah, feeling good about the first lineup, so I decide to keep it going. Again, just the same strategy as last time, and switching up the lead, keeping with the team that worked, and kind of hoping it's going to work out again. I felt like I could have played that first matchup better, definitely. So I just felt like if I kept with the same team that I'd be able to keep that going. Well, that was my thought there. So let's see how that one worked out. Yes. Leading into Bastiodon. Perfect. Gotta love seeing that. You know Bastiodon can win this. I do have a tendency to try to farm up at least some energy against an opposing mon. I know I can get to the charge move first and at least do something. And I should be able to tank at least one move from him. I believe I can get to 2 Thunder Shocks, actually, before he can get to a second Stone Edge. That was the plan here. Block 1 Flamethrower, because I'm at another Thunderbolt already, so I can get to a 3rd Thunderbolt before he can get to a second either Stone Edge or Flamethrower. That was the thought here. And look how much damage it can end up doing, and at least probably get a shield as well. So that's kind of what I was going for there. Use the 3rd one. And then go for a switch right away into something that can do a better job. And at least preserve the Melmetal. Azumarill, again, not the best, but where the Bastiodon's already weak, knowing I can at least tank a Stone Edge and a Flamethrower, no problem. And Bubble will be able to do enough here to kind of take out the Bastiodon. So I felt like it's a pretty efficient way at least to use the Melmetal against the Bastiodon. Obviously waiting for the switch, no, not the switch clock. Kind of waiting for my switch clock to come down. Not feeling too bad going in against a Skarmory. I don't like that I have the half health on there. But Azumarill against Skarmory, I always kind of considered, it depends on the energy, it depends on the shielding situation. It can kind of go either way, depending on all that and where you're at in the battle. Knowing I'm a little behind here, thinking I can at least do like some damage. Tanked that and still got a charge move off, so I was feeling pretty good about that. Getting at least some damage in there. Didn't have to waste my switch, you know. Got a shield left over. Melmetal's up. How could this go wrong, right? Well, she switches into Medicham. And I go into the way that I wanted to, which was using Gallade. I really wanted to avoid using my flying type Skarmory to deal with Medicham. I know that matchup can get very neutral, even go in Medicham's favor against Skarmory, and I leaned on Skarmory for other things. I wanted to be more neutral to the rest of the meta, so I favored using Gallade against Medicham, and that's why I didn't hesitate to go to it right there. Obviously, both used the shield there. Now here, this is kind of the tipping point in the battle right here. Which I just want to point out, because this was very much in my favor. But what you'll see here is that I get Leaf Blade. It's ready to go, and Confusion is doing big-time chunks on here, and I feel like I can get a little bit of extra energy gained. So I go for one more Confusion than I should have, right here. Leaf Blade is ready, Medicham is almost deleted, and I go for one more Confusion, thinking I can save Leaf Blade, and then go for Leaf Blade, but I do not get Leaf Blade off. Medicham gets the charge move off first. It doesn't matter which one it is. And now my Gallade, which was supposed to be leading into the next battle with the charge move to help weaken it, has died with all of its energy. It's died with its charge move. Medicham has gotten a power-up punch to boost its stats, and all I have left... my face indeed, right? Is that Meltan, and it's just not going to be, or Melmetal, sorry, it's just not going to be enough. She's got the charge move ready to go, and it's just not good enough. That right there was a turning point. I gotta admit, I was a little shook, you know? I got a little bit greedy. She obviously played very, very well, and that turned over the battle right there and forced it into a rubber match. Now it's anybody's game, right? I had it in my hands, and I lost that one. Upon some good capitalization from her. She made sure to get that move off, and I just got one move. One move. That's it. Anyway, so that's how that one ends. We go to a third matchup. So for the third matchup, if we go to my lineup here... I decide to go with the Skarmory. I go against the Azumarill. I try to switch it up a little bit. The big change for me here was that because Gallade kind of just, it was in my mind that it messed with me, I switched out Gallade. Even though it was working against the water types, I put in Sableye instead. That's the key right here. I switched from my general strategy of sticking what was working at the time Even though I just misplayed, I probably should stay confident, and I didn't. So that's how this one is going to start off. We go to here. And I get not a good lead to start off with. Water Gun is so neutral, it does very good, but I don't want to deal with that electric type Thunderbolt coming at any point. So I got to get it out there quickly. Water Gun is still going to do okay damage against Melmetal. She gets an excellent switch there, switching in just as I'm using Rock Slide. So that was no good for me. Having the double water type, Gallade would have been great here, but now I'm relying on the one electric type to somehow take out this Quagsire, and I'm just playing from behind this from the start of this battle right on. So I don't like where this is going. Really thinking that I can't risk it. I've got to protect, so I go for the shield just to make sure. Obviously, she went for the kill, and that's kind of favored me because it was at least more energy. I thought Rock Slide was good to use the fast move just because you can try to bait a shield out if anything and keep as much energy as possible. This again is probably going to hurt. Stone Edge stayed alive. That was actually a pretty good call. Nice on that. Just thought it went off quickly, but I don't get another charge move off. That hurts. If I got another one there, totally different story. Instead, that thing's got a little bit of energy stored now, and it's Mud Shot, so it doesn't need much energy to get anything more going. And I've got to protect Sableye again because it's going to get hurt by probably an Earthquake. It's a Stone Edge. Even still, you got to make sure, right? Just barely. Again, I didn't want to risk it there. It was just I thought another charge move was coming, so not a whole lot of life left on Sableye. And there's a very critical mistake, so I had to use Sableye in this position where I didn't really want to. In comes the Lantern to finish off Sableye. The Water Gun damage just doing great. I'm thinking I can get to another charge move here, so I'm going to use the shield, use Foul Play to do what I can against it. Try to preserve anything I can on it, so I switch up to Skarmory knowing it's got some energy on there. I think I can get like the double move. She's still got the shield left over, so it's just like it's a desperation kind of move here. Just trying to go for it, right? Ugh, I gotta charge all the way up here, just hoping it like... Lantern's too tough. It's just gonna hurt way too much. Just way too much. I'm hopeful it wouldn't, but zap. Just completely deletes Skarmory. Sableye's got next to nothing, and down it goes from the Water Guns. And thus I lost to Mystic Sparkle to just a very well played match. Kind of got in my head a little bit, and it definitely threw me off my game enough to not do well there. So, and that was my only loss of the tournament actually. But I'll take that because I feel like Mystic Sparkle is definitely one of the most improved players. She's a definite force there, and that was an awesome match for her. Definitely. Anyway, we go on to the third match. And it wouldn't be a tournament unless we had a match against the world's greatest. So that's who I get matched up against next. We travel all the way to PI, and a whole bunch of us just faced against other Dartmouth people. I believe it was maybe Mabus who only played against Dartmouth people, if I'm not mistaken. World's greatest lineup right here. Only played Dartmouth folk. Oof. That just shows the competition, though, right? And you made it to the championship, too, so that says something there, too, as well. Here's the world's greatest lineup. The one thing I noticed that is different is that he has brought Steelix instead of one of the top 3 picks, which would have been Melmetal, Bastiodon, and Probopass. So it's just a little bit of a different approach. Sableye, good pick. Medicham, good pick. Azumarill, obviously. Tropius was a little bit different. And I like the Tropius matchup there because I can try to line up my Skarmory and farm energy. That's a pretty good matchup on there. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm going to go back, especially after that loss to Mystic Sparkle. I feel like I'm going to go back again to what works. I know that's where my strength is, where I know the Mons and the better matchups and how they play out. So I'm going to go with that. It's also the first time that I bring on a Medicham, however, because I feel like it's one thing that can really deal with that Steelix the best. So we're going to start with Medicham in the first match. Dartmouth represent. Thanks for joining, John Roy. Yeah, Dartmouth represent. You got it. So first matchup. Not a terrible matchup. Not a great matchup, but not a terrible matchup. Again, I don't like to be the one to make the first move, so just knowing see how it plays out, I like to see what I can do here. Go for the fast charge moves, see if I can eke out a shield, see if I can do some quick damage. Leaf Blade I should be able to tank, so I opt to not use the shield. So that's not working out too bad. But it's again about kind of evenish here. Go for a second Rock Slide, get the shield out. And even got to another Rock Slide before the next Leaf Blade. That's pretty good. Enough to get the Tropius out. Now I've at least got the counter advantage. That's always really key. So I can come out with the next Pokemon knowing I don't want it to be Medicham against Sableye. So I can bring out a Azumarill, wait for a switch to happen, and then counter with my Medicham if I need to here. See, I still saved my switch. So I've got the shield advantage as well. So I tank one. It's a foul play. That's good. Shadow Sneak, if you were running it, was a good move there. Power Gem takes a long time to charge up. I haven't really used it, but I know it takes a lot longer. Get the shield out. Now I'm up 2-0 in shields. This isn't a bad matchup at all for me. Switch comes out, getting ready to go right into Medicham, but I don't like that. It's two like anti-Medichams there, so I go for the mirror match with Play Rough. Try to get out the little bit of damage that I can. Again, I can do whatever damage I could, and then try to go into... did I get it? No, so it didn't have charge move priority here, but I can save both of my... not even both of my shields. Knowing I can get the Play Rough, that's probably my best bet anyway. So that seems like it was the right move to do. At least save one shield for Medicham here. I think I can't even get to an Ice Beam. That's okay. And that's because it was an Ice Beam. I think that was kind of a critical error. Allowed me get to Play Rough. That was a pretty critical error that I think World's Greatest thought that was going to be enough to put down the Azumarill. But that was pretty key. I probably could have switched Azumarill right away so it couldn't farm energy against it. And just try to power up punch away and then weaken it as much as possible. Invest the shield. I would have gotten a power up punch at least off first, but at least here it's gonna be okay anyway. Not quite enough to put down Medicham. I go for the Ice Punch just because it doesn't really matter, knowing it's just one more fast move away. It's just a little bit more of a sure bet. A little bit of a problem on there trying to get the charge move going. That happened a couple times throughout the stream, but it wasn't too bad. There was only one match I had to restart. It was actually the very first one with World's Greatest here in round 3. But it worked out pretty good. So I went up 1-0. I haven't, at this point, before this match, beaten World's Greatest at all in any ranked match yet. I don't believe so. So this was a pretty big moment at least to go up 1-0, but I don't want to take it for granted because he's a very viable opponent. He was ranked number 2 going into the tournament globally, if you want to take stock into that, if that means something to you. Anyway, so it felt good at least to go up 1-0 here. Be in the driver's seat. Again, don't want to take advantage of it because we saw what just happened on the last one. So, where are we at here, actually? My apologies. So I'm going to go with what works again. Azumarill, Sableye, Melmetal. Chaithman, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining the stream. We're into round 3 of my regionals recap here against World's Greatest. This is match number 2, and I'm up 1-0 right now. But thank you very much for joining the stream, buddy. Appreciate you having aboard. Again, sticking with what works on here. It's been working for me so far. The Sableye I feel like is a good matchup on there. So I'm going to go with it. Where am I at on there? Alright, so lead off with the Azumarill. And I get Tropius, which is terrible. Razor Leaf is going to absolutely do big-time damage to Azumarill, so I don't want to spend too long in there. I just wanted to farm a tad little bit of energy. Tried to get a switch first, and it didn't work, but at least I got out before Leaf Blade came. So that was at least a saving grace on there. Having a little bit of troubles with the charge moves on there, but it was only once, and I don't really want to, like, start making comments about restarting the game at that point, that's for sure. So, mind you, he does get the switch into Steelix here, which is not good at all. Steelix does have Earthquake, which can demolish Melmetal, and Melmetal does not really have anything viable at all against Steelix. I don't have my Medicham in this party, so that's not that good. I'm still feeling like Sableye can do okay. Wow, really having a tough time with those charge moves on there. Big a time. Didn't even do any damage on that one. That really sucked. Yeah, not feeling good about this battle at all right now, that's for sure. Not at all. Wow, just like so far behind on that. At least I got the 2 shields, but ow. Yeah, it was laid out perfectly for sure. That's just sometimes that's the way it goes, right? Who knows? It's a thought though, eh, Chase? Definitely not very effective. Nice one, Joey Bots. Yeah, Azumarill, like, it can get through Steelix there, but just you saw how much of a rough time it was having. This is just a terrible. I'm thinking I can get to Ice Beam at least. You know, I don't mind investing a shield, so I can at least like make sure I can get some type of super effective move off on here. Switch out to preserve whatever little life I could on that. I was trying to do that as best as possible, and I was like, come on, Sableye, you can do it here, buddy. But Razor Leaf is just kind of tearing through Sableye. Look at that. Gets another, like, I was clicking on the move right there, and it didn't go. So I had to burn another shield. I don't think I would have taken him out right away anyway. Look, and even another fast move went there, tapping on the move, on the charge move. Ugh. Yeah, the one time ever where Power Gem would have been good. Yep. You do what he can there, eh? It's just enough to take out Sableye. Almost had it too, right? Almost came out, but then just nothing left on Azumarill, and Razor Leaf is enough to take it out. So can't go up against Razor Leaf there. That Tropius had to be down to have any chance at all. Yeah, there wasn't. I really didn't see any Altaria. H8th, there was like a very big lack of Altaria. Skarmory just worked out to be a better matchup, I think. I preferred Skarmory as well. Just stronger, tankier, good option. Even though Altaria is always a good mon, right? So, for match number 3, because it wouldn't be a match with World's Greatest unless we went to a rubber match, right? It just wouldn't be. That would be a travesty otherwise. So here we are. We go to the rubber match. I try to go with one of my best teams that I can. I still feel like Sableye is working well. I feel like my off pick with the Tropius being in there was definitely the Azumarill, and I want to take advantage thinking Tropius is coming back, so I bring in Skarmory. That was my thought here, okay? Almost always had Skarmory. Yeah, I'm seeing here on the playback, and this is, I'm doing it differently this time. I'm trying to, like, I'm really watching it for the most part for the first time. I've watched a little bit of it, not all of it, but some of it, and really just trying to, like, comment on it first time. I just think it's a better way to kind of, it's another way to try it out anyway. I didn't feel like I did good on it the first time I did this, so this is working out a little bit better, I feel. Anyway, bring in Skarmory this time. I feel better about it. I want to take advantage of that matchup. So I go with Skarmory. I believe this is actually the best matchup of the tournament. So for anybody who hasn't seen the YouTube video yet, this is probably the best one to see, all right? Skarmory, Azumarill, and probably Melmetal is my third. Where am I at here? Where's 13? Okay. So get ready for this matchup, folks. Starts off pretty neutral, I would say. Skarmory versus Steelix. I don't like the matchup off the start, but I know I can at least tank a crunch. So I'm going to try to farm up some energy, do a little bit of extra damage on Steelix as I can, and see what I can do. Again, trying to lean on the Skarmory, knowing it's kind of like my tanky option. I couldn't get a decent one. Yeah, I really prefer just the variety in Melmetal. The electric, I think, was the big thing. Yeah, definitely the Skarmory better than my Melmetal, for sure. So I like at least this. And knowing that like Sableye can still cover some ground. See, Crunch does a little bit, but not like an insane amount of damage there. So I'm trying to do what I can. I go for a switch, and it doesn't work. So that sucks. Now I'm thinking that I have to invest a shield in it. I was really hoping to get that switch on there, but it didn't work. So I try to farm a little bit of extra energy this time, right? Already investing the shield into it. This time, it gets another one. I didn't get to another switch, but I'm going to tank the Crunch and get the switch off. Keeping the Skarmory in the back, it's got some energy saved. Sableye comes in, and even though I'm down in shields, I know I can at least tank a Crunch on here. It's also a Dark type, so I can at least tank that and get to and at least eliminate the Steelix. Now I'm done with it. So kind of an okay way of dealing with that to keep Skarmory in the back. Steelix goes down. He still has 2 shields, which hurts. Not feeling too great at this point. It hasn't been a great start to the battle. Azumarill comes out. I use the wrong move, as was being pointed out, I believe, across the table from Chase at the moment. It's just a lack of practice with Sableye and being too jittery on the moment, and me going, "Grr!" That's why I had Shadow Sneak there, but used the wrong move. Should have gone for Shadow Sneak. At least still did get one more. So that helps, because I still have Melmetal sitting back, which is a good way to deal with the Azumarill, right? So get off the little bit I can there. Switch clock is ready to come back up. I know I at least have my switch ready to go if I need it. Melmetal comes out and starts to go to work. It comes a little bit of a battle of the shields. I know I can charge up a little bit faster than Azumarill, so I'm going to try to do everything I can here, and it's going to resist at least the moves that are coming at it pretty good. Rock Slide was meant to try to bait a shield to conserve the energy. Luckily for me, it worked out. It was a risky shield bait. I don't do it super often, but you got to do it sometimes to try to eke out that shield. That time it worked. Really didn't need to shield the play rough here. I think that was a mistake. But I was just thinking about preserving the health of Melmetal, and I was too nervous about coming back in the battle at the point. Rock Slide I went for because it was low energy and knowing it was going to be enough to most likely take out the Azumarill, like it did. And now we're off to the races against his Tropius, and he's got a shield left. So I'm able to get to Rock Slide first, and it does a lot of damage. I'm kind of hoping, again, he's going to do the shield here, but obviously he doesn't fall for it for this one. The beautiful thing about this matchup, I need to point out in this exact moment, is that he thinks that Melmetal is actually my last Pokemon right now. And it's not. And I know that because in a few seconds, he's going to start saying, "Oh, it's so close. Wow, oh my god." And kind of like it's sounding in the tone that he got a move off before I did. Because as this turns out, he's thinking this is a race to a charge move. And he thought he just won that race with that little bit of life left, and that my next move was probably a Thunderbolt and probably going to take him out. So here we are. He's going, "Oh, so close." So I'm going, "Oh, I don't think he knows." And out comes Skarmory with charged energy. Bam, off goes a Sky Attack right away. Look at the life on Skarmory right here. Look at this. I get the Sky Attack. He's out of shields. It's not effective. What happens? Look at the energy that's charged up on Skarmory. He can tank one Razor Leaf and go for one Sky Attack. With that, look at the life that's left on my Skarmory right now. And it gets the Sky Attack. In this moment is when I have that little bit of lag. I can't quite get all the circles to pop up. But it's still enough. It's still enough to take out Tropius. And I throw down the phone. That's why you can see the camera pointing up right there. And we're all celebrating what a great battle that was. And I get the comment coming in from the live stream on there for those of you that are watching it. Suppage is on my friends list. He watched that. But that was such an entertaining battle. That was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I was very, very pleased with that battle. And I was happy to get the win against World's Unluckiest. Yeah. I was happy to take it, though. Very happy that I at least had saved the energy on it, and I got away with at least that little bit saved up, and just enough life saved back, right? Medi beat his Sableye. Oof. Gotta love when those matchups end that way, right? Oh, 1 HP left. Oh, that's crazy. So, I go up against World's Greatest. That is the second-ranked player in the tournament to start off with. And my last match is against player Jordan Back, who is actually the top-ranked player in the tournament right here. And from what I could tell, that this wasn't like a favorable position for the people that were in it. I was talking to both of them afterwards, and they kind of felt like it almost put a label on them. It was kind of unfair, right? So I shouldn't really like emphasize that part of it, but it was still cool that I was kind of hoping I didn't have to face both the top two players. Let's put it that way. When I was looking at the tournament beforehand, thinking if I just get one of these guys, kind of towards the end, maybe I can kind of like whittle my way. I just didn't expect to do that. I wasn't expecting to run away with this tournament in any sort of way, right? So I was just trying to like not look stupid at it. So he's running almost an identical team as me. Medicham, Skarmory, Azumarill I have. Haunter instead of Sableye. Venusaur instead of Gallade. And we're also running Melmetal. So it's pretty much a mirror type of situation. I preferred Sableye over Haunter. I just liked a little bit of extra tankiness about it. A little bit. I felt Haunter was a little too glassy, but mirror comp, but you win in every mirror match. So this should have been a run. This is going to make me look even worse now. Thanks, Chaith. Where are we at here? Okay, so the first lineup. I'm going with my better mons that have started doing well. Skarmory, I'm trying to turn to a little bit more. Gallade has been a star for me, and I didn't turn to enough. And Melmetal has been consistent for me the whole time, so I'm going with Melmetal. Who's to say that's the other thing, right? Who's to say? I just know he's got a well-balanced team, and I have to kind of balance that out, right? I don't know if he's going to go one way or the other, lean one way or the other, but I don't know how he's going to exactly play it, right? So, in such a mirror type of situation, the match is going to start here. With nothing other than a mirror match. Skarmory versus Skarmory. So, in the middle of this matchup, or in the start of this, start of this battle here, I actually realized, or it clued into me that there was a video that I watched from King IV and a couple others about charge move priority and how you can kind of gain an extra move in a slot of a charge move. And I thought of it right on the spot as I was doing this battle, and I was able to execute that. So what that allowed me to do was to flip charge move priority, because I was pretty sure that he had it. So what you're going to see here is mirror match to start off with. We're both doing the exact same thing, the exact same moves, and we're building up energy at the exact same time. So I know when he's going to use Sky Attack. Instead of me going for Sky Attack right away, I'm going to go for one more fast move while he uses Sky Attack. So what's going to happen here is I build it up, but I've actually used an extra fast attack, giving him the Sky Attack first. And what you'll see right afterwards is that while he uses his charge move, I get one extra fast move in between. What you'll see is I'm going to use my Sky Attack directly. Here's the extra fast attack that just happened right here. So I'm going to get the extra Sky Attack in. That's the end of the animation that happened from the first one. And you're going to see I have more energy left over here on Sky Attack than what I should have. So you've actually gained a fast attack on this, and you can successfully flip charge move priority. So for the second Sky Attack, you're going to see that I get it first. Boom. Like that. And it was just nice that I actually thought of it right on the spot and then executed it right on the spot. I was pretty happy about the way that worked out, and I feel that was a big reason why I was able to kind of do well in this battle here. So I flipped charge move priority, we're going back and forth, and now I have the ability to match his shields, right? So he didn't shield again, I can save my shield, knowing that I can get to Sky Attack first. He makes the first move, I can slip out right away. Again, I didn't want Skarmory to have to deal with Medicham. I wanted to use Gallade more for Medicham, so I went with the confusion damage. We get to match shields on this. Confusion's going to be good. I can tank one power-up punch. Get to Leaf Blade. He uses his shield. Confusion does its work. Probably going to have to start shielding after this one, or after the first charge move, right? Gallade, yeah, Gallade, Gallade. Gallade was pretty safe. Look at the confusion damage just kind of doing its work, right? I even got a little bit cocky there. I invested the second shield, but I kept Leaf Blade going for some reason. I don't really know why. I generally try to favor the using the farming the energy But at least I had enough for close combat for what was coming out next, and I could at least try to force a shield with it, right? So that's got to be useful. Go for it right away, thinking it might get eliminated right away. It goes to Skarmory. I actually didn't get the switch there, but it was probably better. I get switch blocked in this battle. Noticing I can't use my charge move. It's ready. He goes for the mirror match on here. I can't use the charge move to hit the Skarmory. And I'm kind of going, no, this isn't any good. And I actually end up in kind of like freaking out a little bit. I end up hitting the area in the switch screen. So you'll see here, I'm not using any fast attacks, actually. I'm just getting hit with damage. And I'm thinking, this isn't going very well. Now I have to wait for him to use the charge move, absorb the damage. I have no choice. At least I've got energy saved up, but not as much as I should have because I wasn't using the, yeah, he blocked the close combat, yeah. At least I get that, and then I go for the Rock Slide thinking it's going to be enough, you know? I just kind of think the quick combo move, I just might be able to pull ahead, and it's not enough, so that goes badly for me. He gets his charge move off next, which is going to eliminate Melmetal. And I'm thinking, this has just been terrible for me. I can't believe that switch glitch happened. I get just enough for Skarmory to come in and not get killed by Melmetal. He's got a Sky Attack ready. And last but not least left over for him is a little bit of lag, right? Here's the Skarmory, and it's enough to take it down. So again, maybe having the charge move priority there allowed me to get to that Sky Attack one move faster than maybe his. I don't know, but I still feel like it gave me an advantage early, went behind, and was able to at least squeak out a win against who was the #1 ranked going into the tournament. Again, a really exciting battle. So, we go to the second battle. We go to... Again, all these videos are on YouTube. If you want to look at them yourself, you can access them all. That's all I'm running off of is the YouTube videos. So please go visit the site. If anybody wants to link that, just do the !social code in there, and you can see the links to the YouTube channel and the Twitter and everything like that. So for the first one, it worked out pretty well. For some reason, I decided to swap out Gallade, even though it was working out pretty good, and I go with Sableye because I've been pretty impressed by Sableye's performance, even though I hadn't practiced too much with it. I'm still feeling like it's a strong option for the team here. Again, feeling like it's going to beat Haunter if he's going to change up his team, right? I did think after losing that initial matchup with Skarmory that he was going to switch from Skarmory. That was kind of my plan. And we get to see how that worked out for me. All right. Here. As I try to catch a Sudowoodo in real life game here. So Skarmory versus the mirror match of Skarmory again. And I hate mirror matches off the start. I think I've said that more than enough times, but I can't stand that. That kind of hurt. But anyway, I did it last time. Again, I tried to execute the charge moves priority switch. So I'm going to try it again. I let him hit me with there. I go for the Sky Attack right afterwards. I've gotten the extra fast move off. Sableye is so good. You're right, Jaith. Yeah. And you can see I have the extra energy. So again, I did pretty well there. However, this time, he has an answer for it. So right as I'm using Sky Attack the second time, thinking I got in the switch, he switches into Melmetal. And now I've wasted a charge attack. That's not that good for me. I throw in Sableye. In hindsight, I've watched this over. I'm thinking like it would have been better to again go to a mirror match, I believe. Because at least his would have started off with less life, right? And I would have been able to save the Sableye for a little bit more of a trickier situation. But that's not what I did here. I felt Sableye was strong. It was a good way to kind of like eliminate the Melmetal and go into the next matchup, leaving my Melmetal good to go. Thinking maybe a Azumarill is coming, something along those lines. Use this Rock Slide, get to tank one of those. Trying to farm a little bit of extra energy. Got that. Let's go right into my charge move. Yeah, it's not the way it's going to work out at the end here, I believe, though. Unfortunately. So, I go for the wrong move this time. Again, trying to like plan what move is coming in, or what Mom was coming in next. Use the wrong move. He gets his next charge. And I didn't quite remember seeing what energy I was at, so I'm trying to go for another charge move. At least I can get to that. Get the foul play off, eliminate the Skarmory. He's got a shield left over, and Medicham. I got not enough left on Sableye. At least I do get one charge move off, but it's just not going to be enough because the rest of my guys are just not good enough here. Sableye definitely doing work. That's why I just felt strong with it in a lot of neutral matchups. Melmetal going to get wrecked here. I at least thought I would have enough to get to one charge move, so I get up to Rock Slide, but I don't get it off. And that's another big point right there. He got to the power-up punch first, so that probably would have helped to do a lot of damage, and my Skarmory might have had just enough, maybe, but it's not quite going to be. He's got too many power-ups going on here. A little bit of lag happens, but he's going to get to his charge move. I mentioned that there was lag, but I really didn't think if there was any that was going to really change too much of the battle. He already had a couple of power-up punches on, and it was going to be pretty much GG from there. So, go into a rubber match for the last match of my tournament. For my matches for the tournament, sorry. And he gets the farm and power up on Melmetal. You're right, yeah, you got to power it up on it. So, we go into my last match of the tournament against the initial top-ranked player of the tournament. So, nope. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Stupid player just keeps hitting play on it. I'm going with my best ones. I keep forgetting to go to Gallade, and I hate it, so I go back to Gallade. Melmetal's been a top performer. Skarmory's been a top performer. This is actually the third match. I figured if he's gone with that Skarmory, didn't switch it the second time, he's going with it again the third time. So I'm going to try to call him on it, go for broke, and I lead with Melmetal, and I'm hoping that's going to be it. He didn't use the Haunter or Venusaur once. You're right. Yeah, I was kind of hoping it was going to come in at one point, but here we are. So, it's the last one. I decided I'm going to try to call him on the Skarmory lead. We go to start the battle. Melmetal comes out, and I called it right. He leads Skarmory this time. So, I felt pretty good at least about getting the lead at the end game this one. He switches out right away. I'm ready to switch. I know I want my Gallade in here. It's been really good against Medicham. I don't want my Skarmory to do it. I want my Skarmory saved for other mons. So I want Gallade to come in here. It kind of sucks he's got to tank an Ice Punch right away in that battle. But Confusion's going to be doing pretty good, and I can invest at least one shield into it, no problem. So start going to Leaf Blades. He decides not to tank that. It gets down to that range where Confusion's just doing a lot of damage, and it's enough to almost take it out with Fast Moves. I hate getting my Pokemon down to that spot where Fast Moves is enough to take it out, because that's kind of what ends up happening there. I get my Leaf Blade, and he didn't get to his power-up punch, and that's because he tanked that move. So he probably was better off investing the shield, and I wouldn't have been close enough to eliminate it with Fast Moves, right? So it's one thing to tank a move and live it, but it's another thing to be within that last range. Even though it's only Leaf Blade there, it was still a win to get the bit of the switch advantage, right? I took out the Medicham, its job was done. I can go back to Melmetal now, the initial matchup, and start to do my work here. So I'm feeling pretty good. I've got Jordan Back's friend right behind me at the moment, who's talking, is going, "Oh, Jordan, this isn't looking good." And I'm like, stop talking, because I don't feel strong in this battle yet. I know he's still probably got something good left over. So I want to be... And he's saving those shields, that's for sure. He is saving those shields. And he is keeping that thing alive. Switches right on out. Goes to his Azumarill. I gotta get Thundershock off here. He's gonna block it. I go right to Skarmory just to try to save a little bit of energy. I've got the one shield advantage. I gotta go for broke here. I know he can at least he can tank at least one hit for sure. This is coming right down to the wire too. Again, his buddy's going, "It's not looking good." And I'm like, I don't feel so good about this right now. But again, the neutral matchup to Skarmory is what I was trying to rely upon here. Even with the Azumarill back, Skarmory does work against lots of things. It's pretty darn strong. I go for the Flash Cannon, knowing it's going to be the super effective against the Fairy type. Boom. Not super effective against Azumarill. It does the... Yes, thank you. It does strong damage. One more move coming off here. Ice Beam. Just barely able to survive it with a Sky Attack ready and able to get it off with that tiny little bit of health left over. And that's how that match is going to end. And that's how the last of the tournament ended. For me, anyway. That's how the last of the tournament ended. Yeah, right? 0 HP. My stupid picture thing is in the way right there. There's the picture of the HP right there. There it is, folks. That's where we're at. Yeah, definitely rough go, Jordan. Definitely rough go, buddy. There were such good games, man. Thank you for joining the stream on there. Super, super close. I can't believe how close that got. At least you could see that from my side there too now, right? Yes. So that is how the tournament ended. Again, Chaith was victorious. Everybody did such a great job. The competition level was intense. There were no easy matches against anybody. It was all good. And the best part about it all at the end was that we were all able to connect as the head discords from each province and collaborate further and trying to do more practice against each other and remote league battles. I'm really, really excited for that opportunity and possibly setting up the system for something like, I'm going to say Elite 3, but think of the Elite 4 system in the main series games, right? We have the ability to do that, and I think we have a hardcore enough crew, and I think it's going to be really exciting. So we should all be thinking about ideas for that and have our heads going there. There's nothing but good things coming in the future for all of us. I can't wait to do more battles with everybody.